Hi, I am Allie Camaletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is the ability to release the power a past event has over us and mitigate the amygdala's guarding power to protect us so that we can navigate future risks. Joseph Myers stands as a beacon in the realms of trust, belonging, and cultural development, bringing over 2 decades of dedicated research and profound insights into the essential human need to trust and belong. With a career spanning 25 plus years in studying the intricate dynamics of connection, Joseph has cultivated a unique perspective on the power of trust and belonging and its transformative effect on organizations and societies. Joseph's expertise is not just theoretical, but deeply practical. He offers actionable insights into how organizations can nurture spaces where individuals feel truly valued and connected. Joseph, I'm so excited to talk about our topic today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start off. What is something you have recently learned about yourself?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I kind of subconsciously knew this, but it's come to the forefront of late. And so I feel like it's a new learning. And that is when I went through the process that I set up for individuals and teams to go learn about trust and distrust. I learned control was one of my triggers for distrust. And therefore, it is a very high value to me. I never thought of control being a high value. Like we always think that our value systems are, very aloof and good and will be good for the world. But we also have values that we protect. And one of the values that I protect is control. In that control, then, just learning that about myself, not that I wanted it, because I've always known I've wanted it, but that it's a value and that somehow I need to control differently and figure out how that then affects my uh, the effectiveness and in my relationships and in my work.
Because so much is really out of our control.
Yes.
So I want to dig into this a little bit. Was there a specific moment that made you have this aha?
Well, again, it just came from the work I was doing to help other people, and so I want my process to be ring true for everyone, including myself, and it should help me as much as it helps anybody. And so the aha was not that I enjoyed control or thought that the world was a better place if I'm in control. I've excuse me, I've always known that.
Yeah.
It was this idea that no, because the amygdala is there to protect. And so what am I protecting? I'm protecting a value. Well, what is that value? It's control. And to understand that control is a value that I have was, it's taken, and I'm not sure I'm completely understanding it, but it's been a few weeks here where I'm going, wow, what does it mean to hold the value of control? It's both disturbing, like I shouldn't be that way, and also, well, that is the way I am. So
And I go to positive intelligence that I work with
Mhm.
is and control. There is one of the saboteurs
Mhm.
is actually being controlling, right? But I
Yeah.
also wonder if there's perfectionism in there.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I'm a perfectionist through and through. And so, therefore, I have the ability to procrastinate because of that, and high competency in that. But I also have learned to accept that control not only is a saboteur, but it can be a real superhero.
For sure. I
Like
think
there,
it's very common with many entrepreneurs.
yes,
Many entrepreneurs.
right,
Absolutely. Perfectionism, hyperachiever, right?
yeah,
Absolutely. All right, we could talk
yeah,
about this for all day. So
exactly.
let's get to the topic of forgiveness. When do you feel like you first really embodied this piece of forgiveness?
Hmm. Wow. So when did I first, you know, because control is one of the high values, forgiveness doesn't come easily in a control environment.
Yeah.
Like if something is out of control or goes awry or whatever, control or forgiveness isn't a part of it. And so I think that I've spent a lifetime of trying to specifically forgive myself. Um, my wife would say that I'm overly forgiving, like that I give way too many chances to people. And I think it's because I know what it feels like not to forgive myself.
Hmm.
And so I'm not sure when I first embodied it. That's an interesting idea. It had to be early on in my life. Um, but I've always been generous with forgiveness towards others, but not towards myself.
So then, do you practice that piece of recovery? I call it, right? We go to therapy terms, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If we're not forgiving ourselves for something we said or something we did, then we go to a place of how do we recover with who we might have affected in that moment.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Um, And for me, then that has to do with regret. But it's the forgiveness for me, what it leads to, because of my high control value, is that I try to control the situation to make it better instead of allowing forgiveness just to be the healing salve that it is.
Yeah. So, when you've worked with teams or leaders specifically, and you saw that there was a good amount of forgiveness in the environment, what did it look like?
Well, because this is it's very vogue to say this now, but I do mean it beyond the vogueness that this word has captured in our culture currently. It it looks safe.
Mm,
It looks like people are at peace about taking risk, that they're at peace about because relationship is risk. And so
yep.
until we understand that when we uh, go out on the journey to be in relationship with someone or a team or a product or a business, whatever it is, we are accepting that there is a risk. This is a risky journey. And there's no real cartographer that has gone before us to do what we're about to do because it's every relationship is different. And so, if we don't carry with us this sense of during this journey, I'm going to have to come around and forgive many, many times. If we struggle with that, then we really struggle with the idea of building a relationship over and over again.
Yeah, and I would take it back to empathy.
Yeah.
As I think about some of the leaders that I've worked with, that sometimes they get a little hot and they're ready to let somebody go pretty quick.
Yes.
And the first place I go is like, let's talk about where this person is, the information they had when they did this action, and break it down first before we make quick actions.
Yes. And or slow actions. I remember
Yeah.
I am one of the employees that I hired was one of the first employees of this particular venture I was on, and for a while he wasn't performing, and but he had become a good friend. I mean, we did stuff together, and so finally I took him out to eat, and I said, you know, I'm going to have to let you go. And you know how much this pains me because we're friends, but it's just not working. And he like teared up and said thank you.
Yeah.
Well, so it's an interesting thing how far forgiveness can take us, and the ability to forgive and yet also do the hard thing
Yep.
is a real skill.
Yeah. I had a similar situation where the gal thanked me. It was my first job when I let her go. She's like, I am in over my head. And you never know what's going to happen, and I always feel like those times are times that it puts people on paths that they are meant to be on instead.
Right. And I also think that he knew that he hadn't been performing, and yet I had forgiven him for that. Like I wasn't holding anything against him. This letting him go wasn't a result of me holding something against him. It was a result
Yeah.
of what needed the next step that needed to be done. And I think that that difference, where he knew that forgiveness was graciously given in abundance to him, really helped him be overly thankful.
So, what if we go the other direction where a leader, and you kind of alluded to this, forgives so many times that it is not conducive to the culture or the team members? What have you
Yeah.
experienced when you've seen that?
Well, it's unkind and it's not safe because it's unkind to the others that are there because they're experiencing the same thing. And so you are really putting a burden on them. And then they begin to question and not forgive you for
Yes.
your actions. And so all of a sudden you have this whole muck and mire of um, unhealthy forgiveness and unforgiveness. And it's just kind to be clear with people about their next steps and whether they are fitting in now. Um, I never thought that a job was for all time. You know, my dad and my mom, they worked for General Motors almost all their lives. And that's what you did. You went to work at the factory and you put in your 30 years, you got a retirement. Well, my mom and dad are in that generation where you didn't get a retirement. You thought you were going to get one and then you didn't.
Yeah.
And the understanding that no, jobs are just gigs. They're not for all time.
Yeah,
So,
so true. Very different generations. And now it's even less amount of time, I feel like, with these younger
yeah,
generations, right? They're like 2-year stints usually. It's
yeah,
amazing when I hear that somebody's been somewhere for like 5 years. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome.
yeah, that's a long
But,
timer.
right? Totally. Okay. So, anything else before we go into who your favorite mentor is?
Hmm. No, I think that the definition that you read so kindly about what I think forgiveness is, um, forgiveness is one of the key um, skills and elements to help you mitigate your amygdala response, to calm your amygdala down, to help it not be so active and so barking and biting and all those things. You know, Brene Brown says that um, we are our best selves when we believe others are trying their best. They're doing their best as much as they can, they're doing their best. And for me, that's a statement of forgiveness.
Yeah.
If we all would just believe that we're all trying, then our amygdala, it helps us. It helps our amygdala not get so triggered and so responsive with barking and biting, but it still allows our amygdala to guide us through risk. I mean, we don't want to get rid of that protective response, but being that guard dog and putting up barriers is just harmful in most
Yeah, it
situations.
hurts us. It hurts
Yes,
us more than anyone else. And it, yeah, she says it's a selfish act, right?
yes, right,
And I believe that, like leading with giving people the benefit of the doubt.
yes.
I do think that's beautiful. Thank you. So, your favorite mentor?
Yeah, this one's really tough. You sent this question beforehand, and I've been like, well, who do I choose? There's so many people who have influenced my life, but I'm going to pick one. I have decided on one, and his name is Kennan Callahan. And Kennan wrote many, many, many books. He was a consultant for churches, but he helped me with many of my businesses. And one of the wisest, most generously forgiving human beings I've ever been around. And so I'm going to pick him. He's my hero of the day.
I love it. How about a quote that you feels really embodies this leadership skill of forgiveness?
Hmm. So this may not seem like it does at first, but for me it does. My grandfather. Now you have to understand that my Clifton strengths, the top strength is futuristic. So I'm hardly ever in the present. I'm never in the past, and I'm always thinking ahead. Right? That's kind of my. Well, my grandfather used to say to me, Joseph, there is hardly ever better than here. It's just different. Because I'd always go to him like, I can't wait until I can drive. And he'd go,
Yeah.
no, there is hardly ever better than here. Live your life here. And I always, that for me has been a self forgiveness quote. Like, let yourself live in the presence. Forgive yourself for the things that you're doing right now enough that you can live right here.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so let's wrap it up with what's your favorite snack?
My favorite snack. It's got to be ice cream.
What flavor?
I like chocolate chip.
Nice. Okay. Awesome.
Waffle
Joseph.
cone dipped in chocolate.
Okay. Thank you so much for indulging me on this topic of forgiveness. I know you are very well vested with trust, and I flipped it around a little bit and wanted to touch on this, but I feel like so many cool things came out from this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been really fun.
Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.